Well. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys may be and what time of day it may be. Thank you for tuning in to Lock and Talk Podcast, where you guys can hear about NFL stars of tomorrow today. I'm your host, your proud host, Barry Barnes, founder and CEO of lock-and-report.com. And you guys, go to the site at your leisure, check out the great content on the NFL that you will not see anywhere. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Go to all my social handles on Twitter at locker_reports, on Instagram, Lock Report 100, all small caps. On Facebook, lockreport.com, and also check out the Lock and Talk podcast that's on Facebook. Now, this is what I need you to do. I need you guys to go out right now aggressively. Go to YouTube, whatever your social matters, whatever your devices you use, your computer. I need you guys to storm YouTube right now. Well, maybe not like that. That's a little too much, but you get the idea. Go to YouTube right now. Subscribe to this channel, Lock and Talk Podcast. Hey, we growing, folks. Just continue growing with subscribers. Everybody's starting to recognize that this is a legitimate NFL podcast that you guys will continue to enjoy, especially if you like the nuts and bolts of the NFL, especially if you guys are fans of the NFL Regional Combine platform, which what this whole show is all about. The great small school players going through this program, going through this platform to get into the NFL, whether they was overlooked, not recognized. It's going to be for a number of reasons, but this is where you come to find out some small school talents that eventually get to an NFL by way of the NFL Regional Combine platform. Now, here we go, folks. Week 8 of the NFL was fantastic. The NFL Regional Combine players really showed out, and they had a strong showing, especially the Thursday night matchup with the Green Bay Packers when they faced the Arizona Cardinals, which was a great game. But that game started off really great with an NFL Regional Combine pioneer. Unfortunately, it turned to the worst for this young man. And we talked about tight end Robert Tonyan Jr. Now, Robert Tonyan Jr., if you notice and you've been a fan of this show and go to the site and you read all the articles of the past number of years in regards to this young talented tight end that's in the NFL, and he's definitely one of those tight ends that's starting to really come along and really start to show that he is a viable piece, one of the better tight ends in the league. Now, it's no surprise here. We already knew that Robert Tonyan would be something special ever since he came through the platform, through the process several years ago through the NFL Regional Combine. So it's no surprise here. But for many, it's a surprise. A lot of people don't really know about this young man, but he's definitely one of the better tight ends in the NFL. And the Packers know it. Now, with his time there, we watched his growth as he became one of those players from the practice squad coming from the Lions. When the Lions had waived him, the Packers picked him up right away. This young man has shown for the past couple of years that he is a legitimate player. Now, last year, Robert Tonyan had 11 touchdowns, including the touchdown that he had in the postseason when they played against the eventual Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Strong year. Last year, around this time, coming into Week 8 of the NFL, he had 305 yards and 3 touchdowns, targeted 27 times, caught 23 of those passes. But this year, coming into the matchup against the Arizona Cardinals, he was targeted 25 times, caught 15 of those passes with 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, given the situation with Davante Adams, wide receiver Allen Lazard, both was listed on the COVID-19 reserve list, meaning that both of these players either was tested positive of COVID-19 or been around a persons that was contaminated with the COVID-19. They could not play. So coming into this matchup, we knew that Robert Tonyan probably would have been the primary target in this game. And don't forget, the Arizona Cardinals was expecting it. In this matchup, it was really clear that out the gate that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to Robert Tonyan. And we recognized that the Cardinals was double teaming Robert Tonyan, especially on the red zone situations, how they was always over him. Still, Robert Tonyan still showed out in this game the time that he was on the field, as he had caught 3 passes in this matchup for 49 yards. But his biggest play came late in the third quarter with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left when the Packers was facing 2nd and 6 from their own 46-yard line. Rodgers received the ball from snap, threw the ball to Tonyan across the middle of the field on a 33-yard strike. when Robert Tonyan caught the pass, you saw that immediately that he went to the ground holding his knee. It looked like it was really serious. He definitely had a lot of pain. But eventually, over time, we saw Robert Tonyan walk off the field on his own, walk to the sideline, and then later on, through some series, after a couple series had played, that's when we saw Robert Tonyan walk back with one of the trainers on the team to the locker room. Later on, that's when we found out that he had tore his ACL, and it definitely was a devastating blow. And even the head coach, Matt LaFleur, he even spoke about it, and I quote, "It is sickening for me as a coach. Bobby is a tough one to replace. He's a guy that is so versatile in terms of both the run game and the passing game. As far as whether that's long term, I don't know, but I am sick for him. I am sick for us, and just my heart goes out to him," end quote. So as you can see that the coach, Matt LaFleur, definitely spoke for the team in this situation, how much Robert Tonyan means to this team, and to see eventually that he had his season ended due to the ACL tear. Definitely, our heart go out for him. We know that Robert Tonyan is one of the better tight ends in the league. We know that he's going to bounce back, and I would tell you, in the 2022 season of the NFL, watch out. Robert Tonyan is going to be on fire. We wish you a speedy recovery, and we wish nothing but the best for you and your family. Can't wait to see you back on the field. Take care of yourself. Get some rest. Stay focused. We'll be seeing you next year, young man. All right, now to some other great players from the platform, how they did in Week 8 of the NFL, and we're going to jump right into what the Minnesota Vikings did with the Dallas Cowboys. That was a close game all the way to the end. We knew it was going to be a hard-fought game, and also we knew that Adam Thielen and C.J. Ham, fullback for the Vikings, was going to show out for their team and give it all for that squad. In this matchup, Adam Thielen was all over the place. Target several times. It definitely was a dogfight, and you know that for the fact that no matter what happens on the field, you know that Adam Thielen is going to give his all for his squad. And this was one of those games that he did not let up, as he continued to show that he is definitely not just a leader for the face for the platform, but he's also a main leader for the Minnesota Vikings. In this matchup, Adam Thielen led the team in receptions with 6 and receiving yards with 78. And he also scored the team's solo touchdown in this matchup. In the first quarter, 11 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock, Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins received the ball for shotgun formation, and from the Cowboys' 20-yard line, he checked to his right and quickly went to his left, target Thielen on a crossing pattern for a 20-yard touchdown. And you see Robert Thielen is just doing his thing on the field. He got a little celebration thing going on. He always has something at the end after he scores. But in this matchup, we saw how Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins continue to stay on the same page in this matchup. Also, C.J. Ham, fullback, Pro Bowl fullback. This young man, he does it all. He blocks, as you see. He is not going to give up on the play. He's always going to be out there springing people open. You see here with Dalvin Cook how he had opened up and sealed the back end of the edge so that Cook can be able to get the ball to the field. He is one of their Swiss Army knives, not just for the Vikings, but also in the NFL. And he also did pretty well carrying the ball. Came up just a little short on this attempt to try to get the first down. But in the passing game, he could catch out the backfield. Good catch right here. Good scramble towards the sideline. C.J. Ham, one of the better tight ends in the league. Can't get any better to a lot of these tight ends in the league like him. There's not too many of them out there that can pass, that can catch, block, and run. He is definitely a legit legit fullback in this NFL, in this league, and we continue to see him doing very well. Also, from the platform, Jordan Berry, the punter for the Vikings, he had himself a solid game on 6 of his attempts. He definitely was trying to help the Vikings with their field positioning as he pinned the Cowboys inside the 20-yard line 3 times in this matchup. So he did his job in trying to help win the field positioning battle for his team. So that's what we had locked up in that game. And then also another game right here when we look at the Indianapolis Colts and also the Tennessee Titans. We know that these two teams always going to go back and forth in this matchup. But in this matchup that we was proud to see that even with Indianapolis Colts, Kenny Moore II had a second interception for this season. It came in the first quarter with 8 minutes and 1 second on the clock when Ryan Tannehill took the ball from under center, faked the handoff, and he went through his progressions. That's when you seen Tannehill look in the middle of the field. He targeted wide receiver A.J. Brown, and that's when you saw Kenny Moore jump the route, intercepted the pass, and that's when you seen Kenny Moore return it for a 32-yard play. Not to be outdone, we know we've been talking about this wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans in Nick Westbrook. Heineke. We know that he is doing a fantastic job this season as he hauled in his second touchdown reception of the season, which came in the third quarter or after the opening drive, which was 17-play drive that the Titans had orchestrated in this matchup. That's when we saw here how he had received a touchdown pass on an inside slant for 5 yards for the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk more about this young man in a minute when we talk about what to look for in week 9 of the NFL. So that was a solid breakdown. But before we get off of week 8, there was a play that had happened in week 8 that we probably will never get a chance to see, but don't worry, we caught it. And we're going to talk about the New York Jets wide receiver, Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole is an amazing wide receiver. Been with Jacksonville Jaguars for the past 4 years, signed a 1-year deal with the Jets, and that's where he's at now. But in this matchup, in the second quarter, he would have had probably the catch of the year. And we're going to rewind it back to the second quarter with 28 seconds left. When quarterback Mike White was in shotgun formation, he tossed the ball to Keelan Cole towards the left side of the field. Cole skied in the air with one hand, caught the ball with his right hand, and when he landed inbounds. His cheek, as a matter of fact, his entire right-hand side landed inbounds before he had rolled out of bounds. Clearly, it was a touchdown. Unfortunately, it was called back and said that he was incomplete, and it was not a touchdown pass. Now, we know that my officials, you know how I feel about my officials. I can't wait to give a breakdown of how their highlights on good on-field calls. But this was one of those errors that the officials had in this matchup when Keelan Cole clearly was inbounds when he caught that pass. This was not the first time Coles had an amazing one-handed catch. He did this in 2018 when he was a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars, when he had caught this one-handed pass against the New England Patriots. Fantastic play as he caught this pass with one hand, still took a couple of steps before he had rolled out of bounds. This catch here against the Cincinnati Bengals was reminiscent to that. Unfortunately, it was ruled incomplete, but that, folks, was a fantastic catch by Keelan Cole, and y'all guys need to see it because he nailed it. Okay, now, that wraps up what's happened in Week 8 of the NFL. Now, we're going to get right into what to expect in Week 9 of the NFL. And we're talking about in the matchup Thursday night when the New York Jets, these very Jets, go up against the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, you know what I mean? I always talk about Kenny Moore and also Keelan Cole. So there's definitely one of those games to watch out for to see if these two players are going to lock up at some point in this game. Several regional combine players is in this matchup, especially on the Jets side of the ball. We had Greg Van Rogen, who's been around for a very long time, one of the better offensive linemen in the league. And then Tim Ward, who was with the Kansas City Chiefs the last 2 years. He is over there with the Jets doing well now. Several players on the practice squad like Austin Waters and also Vincent Smith for the Jets, still waiting for the opportunity to get back on the active roster. It's going to happen sometime this season, so definitely watch out for them. Keelan Cole entering this game with 11 catches and 191 yards. In Week 8, he had 3 catches for 25 yards. He did not get across that goal line yet. Will Thursday night be the first time he'll score as a Jet with he and Kenny Moore, number 23, where they lock up in this matchup? Something that we definitely want to watch out for. Now, the Vikings, they get to go to Baltimore. They come to Baltimore, go up against a feisty team. This is going to be a very physical game. See if Adam Thielen can handle these double teams, this physical secondary from the Ravens. They coming off fresh off a loss on a bye week, so this team's coming out hungry. So this is going to be a game to watch out for. They're going to need C.J. Ham to be able to be really physical in this matchup because the Ravens is going to bring it. And then Jordan Berry, he's familiar with him. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a number of years, so he knows how important this game is and the battle of field position is in this matchup. So we definitely want to watch out for. Now, when we talk about Nick Westbrook Heineke, now, this will be an important game for him and the Tennessee Titans when they face the Rams in Week 9, primetime matchup. Knowing that Derrick Henry may be lost for the season due to a foot injury. Yes, we know the Titans had signed Adrian Peterson, but want to watch out for this game to see if Nick get targeted more on short passing plays. He's one of those type of receivers that can catch the deep ball, but really kills defenses in the zone packages underneath. That's when we want to watch him be more of a pass catcher, helping out the running game. So watch out for Nick in this matchup for the Tennessee Titans. I think that he's going to do well and shine a lot more. And also, hey, we have a kicking duel. Can you believe it? The Denver Broncos and the Dallas Cowboys. Broncos kicker Brandon McManus, Super Bowl champion. Brian McManus has been under the radar, but one of the better kickers in the NFL. So far this season on kicker and on field goal attempts, out of 14 field goals, he nailed 13, and it's perfect for extra points with 16. Greg Zuerlein, kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. He is 14 for 18 on the season and 21 for 23 for extra points. This game could come down to a whole bunch of kicks. Both teams have solid kickers on both sides of the ball. Who would be that kicker that's going to help keep their team ahead or take the lead or be a factor late in the game? Two regional combine legends there in the kicking game. Watch out for that matchup in week 9. Folks, that's what we have. That's all we have for this week on Lock and Talk. I hope on the Lock and Talk podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys check out the site. Go to the site at locker-port.com. You guys will not be disappointed. I'm your host, Barry Barnes, founder and CEO of locker-port.com. And you guys can always go to any one of my social handles on Twitter at locker_report, on Facebook, lockreport.com, and also so make sure you guys check me out with the Lock and Talk podcast on Facebook as well. Now, like I said, listen, I need y'all guys to storm YouTube. Storm YouTube. Not like that, because that was crazy. But at least storm it to the point where you guys can subscribe to the channel. We growing, folks. I need y'all guys to make sure that you are a part of this ride, this train, as we continue to grow the great news of the NFL. Everyone stay blessed. Talk to you guys about week 9 and then also previewing week 10. Let's get it. Let's go.